Round 2. Fight.
Welcome in, guys, live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast. I am back from a nice little quick 3-day trip to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and I got my guy Kevin Thomas, who held it down as always, pressing buttons and just ready to talk a little bit of Wildcats basketball on a late night edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. Bringing you a post game, Kevin, because that's just kind of what we're doing here. Wanted to get out ahead of this Kansas versus Arizona breakdown instead of waiting until tomorrow's post game show to talk about it.
Exactly. We just love ball. We just love Big 12 ball that much. We just wanted to be in here at 9:15 to talk about UCF versus Kansas. I can't even get the words out of my mouth, Damon. It's too electric. We have a new logo.
You're too emotional.
We're talking Big 12 tourney. We got a nice fancy little logo. Yep. This is too cool. I'm happy to have you back, Damon. I'm happy Vegas didn't eat you alive.
Well,
you're a little worse for wear, but
debatable.
Who makes it unscathed out of Vegas? You know what I mean?
Literally nobody.
I'm just happy you're back in one piece and that you got to witness this honestly pretty good game.
It was
between Kansas and UCF, which surprised me. I think it surprised you as well.
Yeah, it did surprise me. It actually was a fairly good basketball game out of UCF tonight. Who was the 14 seed in the tournament, and overall just not a great basketball team. 17-16 on the season as their season, sadly ends tonight. But Keyshawn Hall's kind of a hooper. He's a fun player to watch, Kevin, and UCF really gave Kansas a run for their money tonight, taking it into OT. Hit some really timely shots when they needed to, and I think at the very least, Kevin, the number one takeaway you can have out of this is Kansas's legs are a little bit extra tired going into tomorrow. Right?
Yeah, no, this was a long game, and it was kind of a physical game at points as well. Hunter Dickinson had to put in a little bit of extra labor tonight to get things done.
Yep.
Zeke Mayo, AJ Storr. I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about him in relation to Caleb Love later, but that I think was probably I haven't watched every KU game this year, but that was definitely his highest scoring game, maybe one of his best games of the entire season. This is a highly paid player who's been quite underwhelming at times this season, Damon, but Tonight, AJ Storr was as advertised.
Yeah, Kansas seemingly is finding their stride. I think at least offensively at the right time. They gave up a lot of points. Granted, it was an OT game to UCF tonight, who's again not a great team, but it does feel like guys like Hunter Dickinson, Zeke Mayo, AJ Storr, like they're KJ Adams, like they're finding their shot a little bit more. They're finding their role on offense a little bit more, and I think it makes Kansas a scary team because there's a reason that the Jayhawks were number one preseason, right, Kevin? It's not because they lack talent; they got plenty of talent. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting game just from the standpoint of these teams just played each other. It was tight until the end. Arizona's had trouble closing out versus these upper echelon Big 12 teams, especially recently. And Kansas is, they've been winning a decent amount as of late. They've been playing a little bit better on offense. So, can Arizona, avoid the avalanche here, Kevin, and, basically make it into, more of a small term issue rather than, what's essentially going to be the end of their season, on this stretch of basically losing every other game you play.
Damon, should I just get the elephant out of the room right now and ask you how are you feeling about tomorrow now? Now that we know it's Kansas for sure, we assumed it'd be Kansas, and then there were moments in that game where our UCF Knights started to do some crazy stuff, and we started to think, hey, maybe we got to rework the headline. Maybe we should talk about a UCFW tonight. But obviously,
we did indeed get our hopes up, Kevin.
We did. They once I thought I was out, they reeled me right back in, Damon. But you know how that goes. I wanted to ask you how you're feeling about tomorrow. It's a big opportunity for the Wildcats to get some revenge, kind of set a record straight in a way. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Full disclosure, trust tree here, Kevin. You know, it's me, it's you, it's 67 of our closest friends. Make sure you guys drop a like, by the way, on this video. Um, I would say that I was rooting for the UCF Knights the entirety of the game. I was using a lot of we's, us's, ours, and yeah, I think that shows my hand right there. I wanted UCF to win this game because I thought Arizona, I'd prefer somewhat of a cakewalk to get further into this conference tournament. I know some people would probably disagree with that, and give you the iron sharpens iron quote that we were talking about a little bit earlier, Kevin, off air. But yeah, I really do think that it's a game now against Kansas where I'm not thrilled about it. I think it's about as tough of a 6 seed as I've ever seen in a conference tournament. And brother, I'm used to playing, 3 games above 500 Stanford in the conference tournament in the first round. I'm not used to playing the Kansas in the first game of our conference tournament. So yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight, Kevin, and I'm excited to get more into it as we keep going and talk about this game here. But yeah, how are you feeling? I guess you seemed a little bit more confident than me going into this game. Has that changed at all? Has that confidence waned a little bit since the game finished?
It hasn't really wavered at all, Damon. I think I'm actually more confident after watching this game than I was even before. But we can talk more about that in a little bit. I want to bring on our guy who's live in Kansas City, Missouri, Saul Bookman. How are we doing, Saul? How are we feeling? What were the
What's up,
vibes
fellas?
like tonight?
Man, whew. Every game outside of tonight was kind of like, it was good, but not great. This one was fantastic. Like, it was UCF, man. You couldn't help but try to root for them a little bit. They played very, very well. I thought Hall's a pro, dude. Like, he's gonna be a pro. Like, he's so talented. Obviously, it hurt when what's his name, the guard, was it
Johnson?
Young? Johnson, sorry, yeah, I kept wanting to say Henderson for whatever reason. Yeah, when Johnson went out, that was brutal. Also, trash calls against him. Are you kidding me right now? The game on the line, my guy pulls the chair out and doofus falls on his ass and they call the foul? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what do we do? Like, man, do you even know ball ref? Come on, man. Like, that's the oldest trick in the book. So, yeah, it was electric in here. And, earlier today, Iowa State packed the lower bowl. I would say it was probably about 70, 80% Iowa State. KU obviously showed up. But I'm really excited about tomorrow because that's like 3 out of the 4 matchups you're really excited about. I think Colorado's going home tomorrow because they got no chance against Houston.
Yeah, no, Saul, I want to ask you, when that game started to get close, there were a lot of Kansas fans there. They were showing them on the broadcast. It started to look a little nervous. Could you feel any tension there? Like, I know when ASU, for example, got it down close in McHale, I really didn't feel nervous that Arizona was ever going to let that game fully get out of their hands and their grasp. Did you get the feel that Kansas fans actually felt like UCF might take this one off of us tonight?
Yeah, like almost overdoing the celebration when their team did something because they knew the game was like on the line and like, why are we playing so close with this UCF team? Like they were extremely loud when they retook the lead late in the second half. So yeah, I would totally agree with that. Like I feel like they were definitely nervous. And listen, it's a benefit for Arizona because Kansas had to grind that game out, and they went to overtime. Dudes retired, multiple guys fouled out. Like Arizona has no excuses tomorrow. They got to handle business straight up. And I said, what I say on Saturday, I said, bring that same energy, folks. When you brought that negative energy after we lost to Kansas on Saturday, just bring it again on Thursday. Hopefully it's in a win, and hopefully that energy goes a different way.
Let's go in that direction, Saul, because Damon and I'm sure you heard a little bit of the tail end of it. We're starting to talk about the matchup a little bit and how we felt as fans about it, how confident we were as Wildcats in Arizona tomorrow. I'll ask you, and then I guess I'll give my answer that I started to give. How do you feel going into tomorrow?
I'm okay with a little bit of egg on my face if I'm wrong, but if Arizona doesn't win that game 5 to 10 points, I'll be shocked. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, how is Kansas even in this game? Like, or how did Kansas even beat Arizona is what I meant to say. Like, I legitimately don't understand it. Now, home court advantage helps a lot. In the first half, like I was literally sitting like right here. If we can see, let me turn this camera right here. So like this is where I was sitting basically the whole game, and
It's a great
the
view
amount
you
of
got there, Saul. Some
oh
nice
yeah, it was
tickets.
fantastic. I was sitting next to Reggie Geary the whole time. We were chopping it up, talking about like X's and O's and breakdowns of what Kansas should do out of this timeout, and it was fantastic. But there was so much physical contact that was happening underneath the basket that wasn't called. Like there, I mean, you could have blown the whistle literally on every single play. Guys were getting hacked, but they let them play. That's why I was a little surprised in the second half when they started blowing the whistle down at the other end for Kansas when there were nothing called. There were nothing called. So I think Arizona should be able to handle Kansas defensively. The guards are just way better than Kansas's guards. They should be able to dominate Mayo. They should be able to dominate everybody else that is at the guard position for Kansas. And I just don't see a scenario where they're going to get beat.
You mentioned that it was, the home aspect of things, may have benefited Kansas last time. But, also it does seem like they have a pretty strong, fan presence there in Kansas City. Obviously, it's fairly close for them. Does that go into your concern at all tomorrow? I mean, we note that UCF, had a couple calls probably go against them at the end of the game. I think, that's probably we're going to have to come to expect. Kansas is maybe going to have a little bit of a home court advantage tomorrow. Is that factoring in it at all, or are you just that confident in Arizona?
I think there's two things that go against that. One, neutral site. Two, Arizona's the higher seed, and they are also a name brand. UCF, none of those.
Yep.
And so I think it's easier to get away with bad calls against a team like UCF and not have it be a national story than you turn around and do it to Arizona, who it would be a story of some degree. So I'm not so concerned about that at all.
Saul, did you? I mean, it's pretty much the same team, right? That the Arizona's playing as they played just mere days ago. But was there anything different that you noticed that Kansas was doing versus UCF that maybe you think Arizona could take advantage of, or what were your general takeaways from watching KU in person again tonight?
AJ Storr was terrible all season, and all of a sudden tonight he's like, "Oh, I got 19 in me, coach." What? What? I don't even understand that. So that was probably the biggest difference. Listen, if AJ Storr doesn't go off and have 19 points, they don't win this game at all. And Bill Self just said that in the post game right now. He said, without AJ Storr, we'd be lost. And he literally said a third party, I don't know who that third party was, told him that he had a good feeling about AJ Storr, and coach agreed. And so Coach Self played him, and lo and behold, that guy was right. I don't know who that guy was, but that guy should probably tell him, hey, we're going to get dog walked by Arizona tomorrow, just so you know.
That's such a strange way to describe something, right, Damon? Like, if I told Damon, like, if he's like, hey, Kev, what are you doing for lunch today? And I'm thinking, I might go to a third-party lunch location. A third party told me that I should go go to Spinato's for lunch. You're like, who told you about Spinato's? Who's the third? Who is this Godfather figure hanging over Kevin's lunch decisions?
Yeah, you'd think it's someone important instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly. I'll tell you what, Saul.
Maybe that $2 million booster said, hey man, it's Big 12 tournament time. I want some ROI. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll tell you what, Saul. You talk about, obviously, you're confident. You got a little bit of confidence in Arizona tomorrow, and think that they should be able to handle business versus Kansas. What concerns me when I look at this Kansas team is they've been a team that's somewhat struggled with shooting and just the offensive side of the game all season long. And then you look at them recently, and it seems like something started to click a little bit more. You got Zeke Mayo again, hitting a bunch of threes tonight. He went 5 of 7 from 3. He was great against Arizona as well. You note that AJ Storr, finally has a good game after this entire season. Like, do you think that momentum is starting to get rolling on Kansas, and they're finally starting to show the level of talent that maybe people thought that they had at the beginning of the season? Because part of me is starting to think that, maybe this is a little bit more who Kansas is, or maybe in the tournament they're just peaking at the right time. And the last team you want to play is a team that's shooting the rock well.
I mean, you could say that. I don't know. I feel like, listen, the benefit that Arizona has is they literally just played Kansas 5 days ago. And I think that that's going to bear out tomorrow. They're going to be a little bit more keyed in on, especially Mayo. Hunter Dickinson hit 3 out of 4 from 3 tonight. Like, okay, whatever. I didn't shoot that all day long. I don't care. He was not effective at all near the rim. And again, like when you look at it, I don't even know how. What is it? Tom? Is that his name? Is that how they? Yeah, Mustafa Thiam.
Tom with the pom poms. That's a different dude.
They were calling him something different in here. They weren't saying Mustafa Thiam. Yeah, I don't know. So I thought maybe that he had a different first name that I didn't know about.
Maybe it's like a nickname, like Thiam.
Maybe.
Thiam. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I was going off of what I heard, and so I was maybe I'm being assumptuous. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I don't know, but he held up very well against Hunter Dickinson down low in the post, and we talked about it last week. We wondered if maybe Henri Veesaar should have got a little bit more run against Hunter Dickinson down low in the post, and I think here you go. This is an example. Like that length bothers Hunter Dickinson, and I would like to see Henri Veesaar get a little bit more run down low. Now, if the physicality in the first half maintains, then all day long put Toby Awaka on him. That's fine because he's just going to beat the crap out of him, and that's fine. But if it doesn't, then you need to switch it up and put Henri Veesaar in a little bit more than you did last game for sure. So I think overall I'm not so concerned about the threes. They're going to hit threes, but tonight, they were 12 for 27. It's okay. It's almost 40. That's 42%, something like that. It's pretty good, but that's from 3 guys. Everybody else missed. So I can live with that. I don't think Store's going to do the same thing tomorrow. I just don't. I don't think Hunter Dickinson's going to do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, no, and I've been saying that as well. I've been saying that I think some of the things that plagued Arizona in the first matchup will be remedied or just go away completely because they were such basic errors at times. But Hunter Dickinson putting up the amount of points that he did, I believe it was 33, Damon, correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought the same thing you thought, Saul. Watching those two go at it tonight, Dickinson and Thiam, maybe Tom, I don't know. But watching those two go at it, I saw Henri Veesaar. Like I think Henri Veesaar, the length, the athleticism, the ability to shot block, I think that is kind of the blueprint for defending Hunter Dickinson when you have a guy that's built like that. Because not every team has a guy that's built like those two, right? So you have to utilize the length where you can. Because I spoke to this on the post game after the KU loss, saying that I think it seemed like Tommy's plan was to get out there and muck it up and make it hard on Hunter Dickinson to get a rhythm, really play him physical. But there was just no contest on his turnaround jumpers. Like Tobey is just too short. Like respectfully to Tobey, he's a monster, but height is what it is sometimes. I think I'm excited to see a foul trouble free to start the game, Henri Veesaar on Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean we'll see. I think overall Arizona has the advantage tomorrow. They should be able to handle Kansas with no problem. There'll be some resistance. I mean, it is relatively a home game for them, but I just don't. I don't think there will be as many Kansas fans because of the game prior to us with the Baylor and Texas Tech game, and so I think there's going to be a lot of Texas Tech fans here. I think Baylor they didn't really show up today, but Texas Tech I think they're going to travel tomorrow. Yeah. They're excited about their team, like they're hyped up about their team. So I would be shocked if they didn't show up. And I don't think there'll be nearly as many Kansas fans in here because of that. So I think they'll take away some of those seats. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great atmosphere.
What do you expect from Arizona fan presence?
I don't know. I've seen about 15 to 20 of them so far. I don't know. I think there's going to be – I think one significant thing that Arizona and probably the Big 12 needs to do a better job of is they should have done a better job, and they could use places like, PHNX Sports to leverage some marketing opportunities. I'm just saying, Big 12, to try and entice fans to come back out to Kansas City and experience everything that it has to offer, because you haven't seen any of that. There's been no education about Kansas City. And I'm sorry, it ain't Vegas. That's what we know. And if we don't know it, are we going to really try to spend thousands of dollars to come all the way out here across the country to do it? I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people. I don't think if you're not rich, you're probably not coming out unless you have this already earmarked for the end of the season, which that is a thing. Like I would have pitched the incredible talent and the incredible level of all the teams that are playing in this tournament because that's a selling point. And I would have pitched a lot more of the Kansas City experience to try and entice people to, even if your team gets eliminated, there's still plenty to do. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Maybe I'll see. I see Brett Yarmark down the hallway. I'm gonna go make my pitch to him to see if we can make that happen next year.
Little elevator pitch. Do you want to practice that with us? We call it a trust tree. It's a safe space. You're free to make mistakes. Do you want to practice your little 30-second elevator pitch to Brett Yarmark right now?
And then maybe for content purposes, grab Brett, bring him on camera, and then do it.
Yeah, physically grab the Big 12 commissioner and pull him into the shot, please.
First of all, he would fit in my pocket. Okay. I'm kidding, Brett. I'm kidding. Don't take my credential away. No, listen. My pitch to him would be like, Brett, listen. I think we did a piss poor job this year of really exposing the brand of the Big 12 in Kansas City to the West Coast folk and the Corner Four. Right? We're new to the conference. We don't know anything about this. Let us help you. Help me. Help you. Pitch the story of Kansas City and the great basketball that people will experience if they take the time to come out to the Big 12 tournament, because it's more than just the home team. It's all the teams, and we're a conference of 16 people strong, or 16 teams strong. Let us help you tell that story. That would be my elevator pitch.
Damon, what do you rate that out of 10? If this is Shark Tank, are you investing in this business, or what are you doing here? I might hold. I don't know.
I was out a long time ago. I'm just kidding.
I mean, once he told me my approach was piss poor, I'm walking out I can't take that kind of criticism. You know what I mean? I'm a commissioner of a league. Anyway.
Listen. He has to deal with the SEC, and he has to deal with the Big Ten, and you don't think that they're using that same kind of language with him? Like, oh, your conference is piss poor. Come on.
They use nastier language.
I'm running the mill right now. I'm running the mill for him right now.
I'm sure these people don't use vile, vulgar language. What are you talking? Especially the people in the SEC. They would never. I don't know. But, Saul, do you have any last takeaways for us? I know you only have a brief amount of time with us tonight. Any final takeaways before? Because we don't have a live show tomorrow until the post game. So, what are your last thoughts here?
Yeah, my last thoughts are talk to Tommy and Caleb Love today. Both of them really felt like, they're focused on the one game at a time. And I think they knew that because they felt like they were going to play Kansas. And so I just got a good feeling about their focus going into tomorrow's game. I think you're going to see a refocused Arizona team, a much more intentional Arizona team, especially on defense. And I think you're going to see that result tomorrow night. So I left that conversation feeling pretty good. A couple other things that we had discussed, in regards to the arena stuff. We'll get to maybe on an off day or something, maybe next week or something. But I definitely want to bring that up because there was a couple ideas that have been floated around, and a couple things I did not know about McHale that exist right now that prevent them from doing a couple other things. Teaser. There you go. So that's all I got from Kansas City, folks.
Way to wrap that one up. Saul Bookman.
That was a solid little teaser from you, Saul.
Was that a better elevator pitch right there?
A great elevator pitch and an even better bookend. There you go.
I can tell you.
Where's my graphic, guy? Where's my graphic?
Oh yeah, my bad. I mean, I didn't look, man. The Big 12 tourney graphic was so exciting. Look at that Big 12 tournament graphic, Saul.
It is pretty sexy.
It was so exciting that I did forget about your graphic there. We'll have that for next appearance.
All good. All right, guys. Appreciate you.
Real quick, Saul, before we get you out, I did want to ask how much, you're basically a resident of the Midwest at this point. How much is the Midwest weighing you down?
Honestly, it's not bad.
We're doing
the food is the food is actually legit.
Oh yeah.
Like more than just the barbecue. Like I had this Indian fusion cuisine last night. It was a Philadelphia cheesesteak, chicken tikka masala.
Ooh,
and it was fire. It was so good. Like, I want to cry right now because it was so delicious. It was so good. I'm holding back the tears, man. It was so good. So, the food has been great. The people here have been friendly as all hell. Like, not even just here in the arena. Like, everywhere I've gone, everybody's been just that Midwestern hospitality that's really come shining through. Like, I'm telling you, like, if you got to at least come out here once. I do think that this is a bucket list. Even if even if it's only once by the time we get to 2031 and maybe they move venues, like you got to experience it once because there's so much history. There's a lot of Black history here. There's a lot of college basketball history here. You gotta come out and check it out. I'm going to go to the Negro Baseball Hall of Fame on Friday in the morning.
That is really cool.
So like I'm really excited about that. There's a couple other barbecue spots I still gotta go hit up because the last one left a really bad taste in my mouth. And that's really the only bad food I've had. That's it.
The bad food being the barbecue.
No
is,
St. Louis
is
barbecue.
Wild. Hey, ain't no damn St. Louis barbecue. That's a fact.
Jack Stack.
Wow. Poor Jack Stack.
Hey,
just
I'm sorry to Max, but it damn sure ain't no Pappy's. If you out in St. Louis, Pappy's is that's something serious. That's St. Louis style. That's what it is. It's just what it is.
So hey, just so you know, Caleb had the choice to pick between St. Louis and Kansas City. He deferred, but then he said Gates is the king. You know what it is. You know what it is.
That just means Caleb hasn't found his proper spot back home yet. You know what I mean?
You said
you want to tell him that?
City barbecue over St. Louis?
That's what Saul's implying. Saul's saying that Caleb answered it very politically correct.
That's a big hit to the brand, Saul. That's a big hit to the brand today.
Hey, listen, man. I'm only here to tell you the facts.
Buds, y'all. I don't know why we're acting like this is Caleb Love is the definitive aficionado of all barbecue.
St. Louis is truly cooked. It is truly cooked.
Man, let's get that. Saul, what you got to say, man? Let's wrap this one up.
Appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be here for the post game and all the other content that goes along with it. There'll be a little bit of a delay tomorrow because obviously I'll be covering the post game press conference and talking to players if they're available. But appreciate y'all.
Sweet. Thank you, Saul. We appreciate you, man. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Bear down as always. You can follow my guy Saul at Saul_Bookman on Twitter. Make sure you give him a follow as he's out there in Kansas City, giving us all sorts of content, behind the scenes stuff, talking to Tommy, talking to players. And he will be on tomorrow's post-game show with me, with my guy Kevin Thomas, and we'll be breaking down Kansas versus Arizona, hopefully a W edition. But Kevin, we got a little bit more Kansas breakdown to get to, so we're going to talk about it right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast.
Damon Dog.
Yes,
I am now 24 years old as of March 4th, 2025.
Is that your birthday?
And it is the day that I was born 24 years ago. But you know what that means? It means I'm getting older. And it means my cells are getting older. And I don't know if y'all had middle school science class, but mitochondria is the powerhouse or the building block of whatever cell. You know what I mean? I'm not very good at science. But the people over at Timeline are incredible at science, and they have it all figured out. Their patented ingredient is MitoPure, a postbiotic nutrient that clears out dysfunctional mitochondria, aka the battery packs of your cells. And like I said, I didn't excel in science. So with regular use, let me cut right to the chase. This is the difference between feeling more energized during your workouts and better recovered after your workouts or not. MitoPure recharges your cells, Damon, and helps your body's systems work better. MitoPure is the only supplement clinically proven to rejuvenate health at a cellular level that you can't even see cells. That's doing stuff for you in the background that you can't even see to help you live a happier, healthy lifestyle. It's shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength and endurance without a change in exercise. That's a big W. Get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized you right now. Timeline is giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/PHNX to get started. That's timeline.com/PHNX. I know my guy Damon, he doesn't have to go to the gym 7 days a week anymore because Monty Osford's done his job to an extent.
Well,
but
yeah,
but
we did
if you were going to the gym 7 days a week, he would need this MitoPure.
I would certainly indeed. I'm actually kind of sick to my stomach now that we're talking about it, Kevin, that I didn't get in on that before we were getting into our little challenge there. But another thing I am sick to my stomach about is the fact that you guys got Spinatos yesterday and I was not in the office. Nowhere to be found. Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough pill to swallow walking into the office today because Spinatos was on my mind, Kevin. I literally was thinking to myself, man, I could use some Spinatos right about now. A couple slices for lunch. That sounds incredible, nice and light, something tasteful, and it wouldn't weigh me down the rest of the day. And of course, you guys got it one day earlier. I love Spinatos, man. Spinatos is the best place to get pizza in the Valley. Incredible. It's the official pizzeria of the Phoenix Suns. They're doing their pizza competition. We've talked about it before. Same thing as horse, but it's spelt pizza instead. And you can win free Spinato's pizza for a year.
What?
Does it get better than free pizza for a year?
No!
The only way it gets better is a free ticket to the Suns game on April 9th.
It does get
Those
better.
are the only two things that are up there in terms of the greatness ranking in the entire world. Free tickets, free pizza. Does it get any better than that? Mark your calendars, Suns fans, because the excitement starts at Spinato's. Get all the info on the watch parties and pizza basketball contest at SpinatosPizzeria.com. Spinato's, the official pizzeria of the Phoenix Suns. Kevin,
and I must say real quick on the Spinato's point of all this, Damon.
Please do.
Spinato's also very good leftover, I will say. I came into the office today. There were
that's the other.
There were some leftover bits.
Yeah.
I think me, Gerald, and possibly even Noah enjoyed some, and Damon, his beloved Cardinals. They are quite long-winded over there. He did miss out on the leftovers, but Spinato's is just as good day after as day of. So get you some Spinato's.
Here's the thing about that. Also, that element that I didn't put into that ad read there is that yes, there were people that did in fact have seconds today. Yes, last time I did only have one slice of pizza before the savages in this office picked up the rest, and I was unable to get any more. Wait, you were also, it was in the middle of our show, so you were also affected by this. Okay. You don't remember that?
No, I heard savages, and I thought about myself, and how I did get seconds and you didn't, and I was like, man, I'm a savage now.
Well, it's just the fact that we each got one or two slices last time, right? Now this time, because there wasn't enough, now this time there was actually leftovers, but I still didn't get any. All I'm doing at every opportunity is not getting Spinato's. And yeah, it feels.
The worst part is that
feels bad, man.
The worst part is that you did get the Spinato's that one day that they brought in Spinato's,
slice.
So you got like the taste.
Not enough Spinato's.
No, I'm
man.
saying like you got the taste of it, but now you just you want to go back for more. Like you just need more. And Damon, I cannot blame you for that at all.
I do need more, Kevin. I do need more, and and what else I need more of, and Saul alluded to it when we're talking to him earlier, is him talking to Tommy and Caleb Love at I believe the hotel earlier.
It did seem like he caught them in the lobby.
Yeah, I think that looks like the lobby of the hotel to me.
It seemed like a group of people actually caught them in the lobby.
Yeah, and then that was this morning, just kind of before the Kansas UCF game went down, and Saul talked about that they felt like they had some confidence to them when they were speaking. I would have to agree with that from the little parts that I've seen. It does seem like, they were somewhat, confident, or at least feeling good about their chances as postseason play, reigns on here. And yeah, we'll get you that sound in a second here. But yeah, Kevin, I think going back to this matchup, UCF gave Kansas everything they could handle tonight. I think Kansas has been, they've been a defensive-minded team for the majority of this season. Their offense has been their crutch, or their issue, I should say. But now we're looking at a team that is starting to hit some shots, starting to look like things are flowing a little bit more on the offensive end. I really think it could come down to, can you affect Hunter Dickinson at a level where you're forcing him to turn the ball over, forcing him to miss some shots, and not allowing him to get offensive rebounds? Because I really do think he was the difference in the last game. He was unstoppable for Kansas, and I know those shots from Zeke Mayo were also massive as well. Yeah. But it was really that duo, that combo there that Arizona, I felt like, could never get a stop on when they needed to, and it led to the loss. So how can you slow those guys down in the next game, I think is the question.
I think me and Saul kind of talked about it when he was having a guest spot here. I think it starts and ends with Henri Veesaar starting the game on Hunter Dickinson. And you know what? If he picks up two quick fouls, and you switch him off, and he doesn't go back until maybe the second half, so be it, right? Because he it's not like he's perfect when he's not playing against Hunter Dickinson, right? He picked up two fouls without guarding Hunter Dickinson. So I feel like you got to give him the chance to guard Hunter Dickinson, because I think we saw tonight with Thiam/Tom that I think that that Hunter Dickinson can be bothered by length, right? I think like what and again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I think what made Tobe Awaka's really tough, really physical, really deterring defense not as effective against Hunter Dickinson is that when Hunter Dickinson would back out of the post and do a turnaround jump shot, or he would just face up and try to shoot the ball, Tobe can't get up there to get a hand in his face quick enough. At least he can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I think
he's got a 5-inch height advantage on
Yes.
Tobe Walker.
And
that's significant when we're talking about this level.
And I think that you have to start with Henri Veesaar on Hunter Dickinson. But I also think, Damon, while yes, slowing down Hunter Dickinson might be the key, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Can we have the Zeke Mayo conversation?
Yeah,
because he came out tonight and set the tone as well.
Yeah.
8 straight points to start the game, an 8-0 individual run against UCF to start the game is damn impressive. His deep threes shot making is insane at times, and it seems like he's becoming he's on fire in NBA Jam right now, and that's not what you want to see if you're Arizona, right? Because Zeke Mayo, while he isn't the number one name on the team, and I don't think you disagree with me, I'm just saying there is a conversation to be had that maybe shutting down Zeke Mayo is the key to the game, because the lights out shooting from 3 can either get you back into a game or pull Arizona out of a game. Right. And I think Hunter Dickinson is going to be Hunter Dickinson to an extent, right? He kind of is a known variable. He could go for 33 if you allow him to do so. But I don't see Arizona doing that again. I'm going to knock on wood here. But yeah, Damon, I think Zeke Mayo is maybe the number 2 guy that you absolutely need to stop in this game.
Kevin, I'll peel back the onion a little bit, an extra layer. I totally actually agree with you. I don't know if you remember on the post-game show.
Who's cutting onions, man?
I did tell you on the post-game show that I felt that Zeke Mayo's 20 whatever points he scored in that game were more backbreaking than Hunter Dickinson's 33, because I think Hunter Dickinson is somewhat, and I'm not going to fully put this label on him, but because I think in college it's a little different, but I do think he's somewhat of an empty stats guy, where it's like he's going to score his points no matter what. You're not really going to stop him. It's about like, can you get him in these spots where they're going to Hunter Dickinson in the high post every possession, and that's not always leading to points. You know what I'm saying, Kevin? Like,
I do.
You're forcing a little bit more turnovers. You're forcing some ill-advised mid-range jump shots out of Hunter Dickinson. But if Zeke Mayo is going to hit 5 3-pointers every game, Kansas is going to be pretty damn tough to beat. And yeah, he's a guy who's been a good player this season for them, but really has turned it on in the last couple of games here. And has looked incredible. And I felt that he was the true difference between Arizona and Kansas in the last game was Zeke Mayo was hitting some just absolutely back-breaking threes at the most inopportune times from Arizona's perspective. So, yeah, I do think that you could make the argument that stopping Zeke Mayo is going to be even more important to this team. But I guess Hunter Dickinson, I know he's just kind of the premier name, so it leads to a little bit of, obviously you're going to talk about him a little bit more, but I also think that from an Arizona perspective, it's at least a little bit more intriguing of a matchup, because I think Arizona's seen guys like Zeke Mayo all season long. They haven't seen very...
Oh, yeah, they have.
I don't know if they've seen one big oaf like Hunter Dickinson.
No big oaf is a
not
big
in the Big
oaf
12.
in the way that Hunter Dickinson is a big oaf.
Not in the Big 12 and not in non-conference, and I feel like he presents that different matchup. They saw it once. It did not work out well for this team. What do you do differently the second time? And I think that's what makes the Hunter and Dickinson part of this so intriguing is, can Henri Veesaar just be that answer? Is it that simple? Or is if he picks up a couple of fouls like he did last time, but this time on Hunter Dickinson, can Tobe Walker make some adjustments and get a little bit lower into him? Because I know that sometimes can affect big men at a different level. You don't always want to meet them high. You want to maybe get into their lower body a little bit more on defense and see
tabletop that boy.
Yeah, see if that you can affect them more. See if the double teams are the way to go. If they should just start doubling on every possession. But then again, that's where Zeke Mayo comes into the picture again. So I think that really that's maybe stopping Zeke Mayo is more important. But I think that it's more intriguing stopping Hunter Dickinson and just, I guess, what the game plan is going to be, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Damon. And we do have more Kansas preview to talk. We have Kansas preview to talk. And we also have Hall of Names, inaugural class.
Yes.
The long-awaited inaugural class of Hall of Names.
There could be some postseason additions.
There could be some postseason additions. But this will be the inaugural induction into the Hall of Names for many players. Some of your favorite names in all of college basketball will be on this list, and we're going to talk more about that just after this quick break on the AZ Wildcats Big 12 Tournament Edition podcast.
But first, we're going to talk about our friends over at Circle K. Kevin, my gaslight went on right before I left for Vegas, and it was a nice, easy, peaceful stop with my friends over at Circle K. Stopped in, maybe got myself, an energy drink as well. Got myself an energy drink on the way to, work today. I love our friends at Circle K. It's America's thirst stop for a reason. It's because they have all the products that you could possibly want if you want to refuel your day when it comes to snacks, when it comes to, maybe some meals even. They got the rollers, of course, with our friends at Circle K, but they also just
tornadoes, man.
Yeah, they got the water, they got the energy drinks, they got the sodas, the Polar Pops, formerly known as the Thirst Quenchers for some of my Arizona OGs here. But man, I love Circle K, and I could talk all day long about it. If you sign up for the Inner Circle rewards now, you will save 25 cents off per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. Then you will save 3 cents off per gallon after that until you become a premium member. Then you will save 5 cents off per gallon like me. Kevin, are you there yet?
I'm working my way up.
Kevin's still working on becoming a premium member. Recently found out that I was lying to the people calling him a premium member. Was a disaster and one of the big stains on my career here at PHNX. But that's okay, Kevin. We are going to get you into that premium membership because the Inner Circle is that good. And how could you not want to be a part of it? Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today, or sign up at the pump with your phone number. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
And listen, y'all, summer is around the corner. So, yeah, you might want to stop at Circle K. But if it's hot out and you got to pump your own gas, you might start sweating. And that's where our friends at Mando come into play. Now, they got all types of different products for you. Everything from cologne to deodorant wipes. Now, I was actually watching famous UFC commentator John Anik's podcast. And they also sponsor his podcast as well. The good people over at Mando do. And John Anik uses deodorant wipes. I did not know this about John Anik. Damon, I'm sure you now are learning this about John Anik. Apparently, he is a very sweaty guy like myself.
He told me this weekend in Vegas, actually.
Oh, you bad series of words. But listen, John Anik, sweaty guy like myself. And when you need some deodorant on the go, you can't always just have a whole solid stick of deodorant. No, you just need some quick deodorant wipes. And that's where Mando comes in. But guess what? You can get a starter pack with not just the deodorant wipes, but also solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and those deodorant wipes, and you get free shipping. Like I said, Mando, it was created by a doctor who found out that people were going to the doctor and getting misdiagnosed with more serious conditions, when in reality, they just had some BO. They kind of just stank. I'm not going to lie to you. So the people at Mando said, let you get fresh to head to toe with Mando. Go to shopmando.com, shopmando.com, code PHNX to get 40%, $5 off of that starter pack. Please support our show and just smell better, folks. It's not hard. Mando makes it so easy. Check out our friends over at Mando.
Mando, it's the best. What's not the best, Kevin, is watching Hunter Dickinson play basketball. I did want to get back to the point I was making right there at the end. And just saying that Hunter Dickinson, I think how they choose to defend him is the most intriguing portion of this game. Would you agree with that, or is there maybe something else that you're looking for that might tickle your fancy a little bit, Kevin, as a fellow hoops head?
That's me being my fancy being tickled.
I didn't like that.
I mean, you said you.
We'll leave that. No, I know I put that out in the universe, but we're gonna leave that one to the side. We're never gonna go back to that one.
It's a past. It's in the past, man. We're in the future now. We're actually, every second that goes, we're still in the future. But it's actually the present.
We've actually moved on from that.
This is now a time-traveling podcast. Welcome to the AZ Wildcats time-traveling podcast. But no, Damon, I'm kidding. What's most interesting to me about this matchup, Damon Dog, is how Arizona's bigs perform. But I'm also curious about the general team intensity. I want to see Arizona play a complete game of basketball, Damon. Mm-hmm. Is that too much to ask? I don't think that it is, but I would love to see it. And I think what is most interesting to me from a matchup standpoint in this one is how cohesive can the guard play be with the front court play against a team like Kansas that Arizona has already seen very recently. They have not changed very much. In fact, Arizona is the fresher team with more research on the game. I know Tommy loves his analytics, so he has all the analytics in the world on this one. You have real life experience of less than a week ago, and KU just played an overtime game the night before in the same arena. So it's going to be raucous. It's going to be a tough environment, but I'm interested to see if Arizona can play a game from pillar to post. I'm picking Arizona to win. I'm confident Arizona's going to win this game, similar to Saul as well. But if Arizona doesn't win the game, I literally just want to be able to go on the postgame and say, at least they played a full game. And maybe they lost because Zeke Mayo hit freaking 3 hash threes at the end of the game or whatnot. But I just want to see Arizona start to get back to where we thought that they were a month ago, 2 months ago, where you and I are talking about, hey, maybe Arizona's rounding into the best play of the year at the perfect time. And maybe they just need to maintain that heading into March. And then it all fell off the wagon. And so I want to see Arizona get back on the wagon. I want to see Arizona play a full game of basketball. And I want to see Arizona defend the hell out of Hunter Dickinson and let the chips fall where it may.
I'm with you. You know, you just got to see that effort and intensity level, show you that it's postseason play, because it's their first opportunity to show you that they can flip that switch, that they can turn it up a notch. Because, you know,
I missed that guy right there. Where are you at? I missed Damon Dog. I don't know how to point to him, but I missed this man because you're right, Damon. I was just about to interrupt you and say, I want to see them flip the switch.
Yeah.
Prove to us you can do it.
And they've been a great defensive team all season, but there's an extra gear that they could get to for sure. And, you know, it's different than the Pac-12 tournament where you really didn't have to flip a switch. You could coast through like you did all season long and still win the tournament at the end of it. But it's different. It's a new territory for Tommy Lloyd as well. And that's where I was going to lead it into, Kevin. I think that's also one of the more intriguing aspects of this game is how does Tommy look against a Bill Self in postseason play? Because Bill Self is the most decorated coach in college basketball right now. I'm pretty certain. I mean, who else are you talking? Pitino?
Yeah, Pitino.
But it's Pitino or Self.
Not,
and I think,
not Cal, right?
I think Self probably has more accolades than Pitino. I really do. Izzo's up there. But I mean, that's the class of coach we're talking about.
We're honestly
here.
Just illustrating your point further.
Top 10 coaches of all time type of vibe. And Tommy Lloyd, you know, while he's been unbelievable in the regular season, has not shown that yet in the conference tournament headed into the NCAA tournament. I think this is a massive opportunity for him to say, hey, we were prepared for Kansas. We thought we were getting Kansas. Damn, we knew we were getting Kansas. We didn't have a confidence in UCF, and we were prepared, and we wanted that game because that was a game that, we had marked on our calendar because we had just lost to that team. It's fresh on Arizona's mind. That's their last game that they played is a loss to Kansas. Can Tommy Lloyd and the team, kind of flip that script on its head and take down a Kansas team that's pretty solid, in another tough environment because they're going to have a lot of fans in the stadium. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting, and I do think that Tommy versus Bill Self aspect, basketball, football guy, I know that, man, but it's just the Pac-12 tournament, like, I don't think exactly that they were playing their heart. I wasn't getting the vibes like, man, this took everything to win this tournament. Like, and that's what it will take in the Big 12.
I didn't even get the vibes that it meant everything to them to win the tournaments.
No, I don't think it did.
No, yeah, I'm just illustrating your point further.
And it also shouldn't have, but I think what I'm trying to say here is that, like, we're going to have to play every game like it's the Super Bowl rest of the way, like every game is a national championship, because that's how all the rest of the teams in this conference are going to handle it. In the Pac-12, it was kind of a foregone conclusion, like, oh, we'll wait until the championship. We'll play UCLA and see how that goes. Maybe that game was up in the air, but there was one game that was up in the air. You knew you were coasting through to the championship. Arizona could lose this first game, wouldn't be shocking. Could win the whole thing, I wouldn't be shocked either, but it sure would be nice to peak at the right time, Kevin. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kansas's preview real quick and just kind of break down, the Jayhawks as a team. I did some quick research while we were live here, Kevin. The win tonight versus UCF does count against their overall record, does not count against their conference record. So they finished the conference season 11-9 after beating Arizona, but today's win gets them their 21st win of the season against UCF. 47th in offensive rating, 9th in defensive rating. As we noted, Kevin, they've been a little bit better of a defensive team this season. Seems like that offense is starting to find its rhythm here. Nothing to write home about in terms of tempo, pretty middle of the pack there. And then, as most Big 12 teams are, their strength of schedule is 11th, one of the better schedules in the country.
Dude, KJ Adams is jacked.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I knew
he's been in college for as long as he has.
But I knew he was strong and a built guy. But like this photo is kind of insane. Like our left, his right arm, that's insane. Anyway, back to the basketball.
It's pretty cut. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty cut.
I just didn't. On TV, he looks a lot like, for lack of a better word, like softer. You know what I mean? But like you said, in that photo, bro looks cut. It was kind of distracting. I'm not gonna lie to you. But Damon, Kansas, we know this Kansas team. We just faced this Kansas team. They are a brutally brutally talented team, I think.
Yeah.
They're very talented, very well coached, as you alluded to. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I think what plagued Arizona in the first matchup, in the first half specifically, were self-inflicted tiny errors, such as traveling, fumbling the ball out of bounds, not being sure-handed with the ball, allowing backdoor cuts, which is something that they teach you in like high school summer basketball camp stuff, is to not let, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm being serious. Like not allowing your opponent to take the baseline on you.
They shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. But I'm saying I don't think that that's going to happen 2 times in a row. Again, knocking on wood. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I have no reason to think that Arizona would take that so lightly as to not learn from their lesson that they just were taught less than a week ago.
I do think that some of that of what happened there is playing on the road. I do think that, playing at Fog Allen Fieldhouse is one of the toughest places to play in the country. So you're going to be prone to some of those maybe like more boneheaded mistakes, right? But, I asked the question to Saul, what do you expect tomorrow in terms of Kansas support? Do you think it's going to be a road game essentially? And, I think his answer was more of maybe not like, I think, there's going to be more Kansas fans there.
He kind of brushed it off.
But I think he made it seem like it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. It's going to be interesting to kind of monitor. And I do think that there is the factor of you have Texas Tech playing a game earlier that day. You have Arizona fans also in the building because we know Arizona fans like to travel. And you have a million Kansas fans that, rolled out of bed this morning and crawled over into their seat at wherever the stadium is called in Kansas City.
Isn't it the T-Mobile Center?
I think so. I think it is.
But not the T-Mobile Arena.
Yes.
Because that would be Vegas.
Yes.
That would be a fun city. Sorry.
Bad, Kevin. But yes, I think the factor of those 3 pretty big fan bases that all have expectations for their teams playing that day, I think maybe could settle that number down a little bit. But I do expect it to be pretty heavily Kansas. And you heard it tonight, man. It was, I thought when good things were happening for Kansas, their fans were getting pretty into the game here. But
sorry not to cut you off, but like I agree with Saul in the sense that yes, it is a neutral site game, but I do feel like, again, Saul more experienced in this than I, but I do feel like he did brush off the idea that it could almost be like a diet home environment, right? Yeah. It's not going to be as raucous, like you said. It's not going to be as raucous as Fog Allen, but there's going to be a lot of KU fans there, and Saul kind of said it himself. Arizona ain't UCF, bro. They're going to be a lot more interested diehard fans to watch Kansas play Arizona if you're a KU fan, right?
Also fair, yeah.
So I really
on a Thursday versus on a
yeah, man.
A Tuesday or a Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah, so I feel like the environment is definitely going to be pretty anti-Arizona. I think we all know that Arizona fans travel very well. But I think this is kind of more of a home game than I think Saul was giving it credit to. So I think I disagree with him slightly on that. I don't again. Arizona's going to have its moments in this game where the crowd doesn't seem like an issue at all. But I do think that the closer this game is, the louder that crowd will be, and it will get pretty loud. I do not doubt that.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun environment for sure, and hopefully it's just a good basketball game, Kevin. Because I based off how this last one went, this is what we signed up for getting into Big 12 is playing teams like Kansas in these big moments. Like, you might not win every year. It might not always go your way. And I think Arizona fans need to be a little bit more patient being in this conference in general. But it's going to be a fun back and forth year in, year out with all of these top tier basketball opponents. Kevin, we got one more break we got to hit here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Do not go anywhere.
I mean, Erica Day said in the chat, leave a like for Damon and I. We are ecstatic to be back in the same room together covering Arizona Wildcats basketball. For everybody in this chat, we appreciate everybody joining us tonight. But Damon, I do want to talk about our friends over at Cornbread Hemp making history. Damon knows I love a goat, and Cornbread Hemp might just be the goat of THC gummies. America's first ever USDA organic, verified organic THC gummy. Their mission is to improve your quality of life with the highest quality hemp. It's a great way to experience a healthier happy hour. Some of those other happy hours not going to be the best for your health, but Cornbread Hemp has none of that artificial synthetic ingredients that are harmful to you, the user. No synthetic ingredients, Farm Bill compliant and legal for adults over the age of 21. And I just want to say, you can easily make cornbread a part of your daily routine as a way to unwind at the end of a long day, or simply just have a healthier happy hour once you get off of work. If you're looking to try cornbread hemp today, like I said, they've created the first ever USDA organic THC gummy that's 100% legal. And as a special offer for our listeners, you can get 30% off your first order. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX and use the promo code PHNX at checkout. Again, that's cornbreadhemp.com/PHNX. Use code PHNX for 30% off your first order.
Kevin, now it's time to talk about our friends over at Branded Bills. I'm not wearing a Branded Bills hat right now, but damn, I wish I was, because this one is nowhere near as comfortable as my Branded Bills hats. That's a fact.
Hey, you know what Branded Bills would never do, Damon? They would never make a silly error like a certain hat company did with some baseball logos and really embarrass themselves. Branded Bills will put the thought into their hat designs and never let something silly like that happen.
We went and toured their facility, the PHNX crew, and let me say, they have way too many people working there that with way too bright of minds for that to have ever happened. They got to have like 6 different lines of rooms that their design products get through before they get the A-OK on that, and that's why all their designs are as sleek and fine fitting as they are, Kevin, because Branded Bills puts in effort into each and every hat. We designed our own hats. It was a lot of fun. Got to see, their hat press and how they do it. How the company started. We got a little bit of a tour of and kind of rundown of the company's history. And, you got to just love a group of dudes that just, wanted to do something right. And it just blew up big for them, right? And now they're based out of Arizona. We love to support local companies. They're out in Mesa, at that facility out there. And like I said at the beginning, some of the most comfortable hats you will ever wear. You need some custom apparel. That's a great place to go as well. Make sure you guys check out their U of A campus collection. They have some of the coolest Arizona Wildcats hats you will find out there in the business. Head on over to brandedbills.com. Use code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
Damon, I know we have some more Arizona, Kansas to talk. I know we have some Tommy Lloyd to talk about as well. Maybe even some Caleb Love. But I want to get it out the way, man. I want to really do this Hall of Names, and I really want to talk about it, Damon. So shall we induct?
Yes.
The first class.
We shall.
Of Hall of Namers. Welcome to the Hall of Names. Jizzle James.
Dr. Bradley.
Danny Pounds.
Jeremiah Fears.
David Punch.
Seamus Lukosius.
Jordan Ivory Curry.
BJ Edgecombe.
Federico.
Pissed you got that one. Flory Badunga.
Well, you get the best one. Doug McDaniel.
Enoch Cheeks.
Dude, that one's the best. Enoch Cheeks. Yes, congratulations to all of the first inaugural class of Hall of Namers.
What a freaking class.
Your plaques will be in the mail. Please send us a forwarding address.
And 10% of your future earnings, of
course.
Yes,
10%. It's in the contract that we gave them when we did this. So they're all contractually obligated to make sure to provide us their forwarding addresses and 10% of their future earnings. But yeah, latest on Koa Peat. We could talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Kevin, you were obviously at Koa Peat's state championship game. Were there people, any murmurs out there, any vibes out there that you heard? What did you see? And then also, we'll get into, maybe some of the latest that we're hearing, but nothing concrete. But yeah, definitely some interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was there. It seemed like, I didn't speak with Koa, unfortunately. Like, the media situation there was, I'm sure you can imagine, for a top 10 player in the nation, was pretty crazy, winning his 4th straight state title. But he did seem like he wanted to kind of keep it all business. He wanted to he went first thing over to his family and acknowledged them, kind of spoke briefly with the media I saw. I'm sure he spoke maybe a little bit further after the fact, after everybody was gone. The latest on Koa Peat is it seems like he's undecided. Right, from all the reports out there going around, it seems like Koa Peat is currently undecided, and there might need to be a couple more dominoes that fall almost, I would feel like, before Koa Peat seems to feel comfortable to make his commitment. But I sent out a tweet, and I don't know how you're going to feel about this, Damon Dog, but I sent out a tweet the other day asking folk, Koa Peat or Brayden Burries, you can only get one, take it or leave it, who you taking? a lot of people picking Brayden Burries, and I think I'd be inclined to go the same direction.
I think that the reason for that makes sense given that it's maybe because of, maybe a positional standpoint. You could potentially have Carter Bryant coming back. You have Henri Veesaar in the fold. You could keep Tobe Awaka around as well. So the
Krivas coming back from injury?
Yeah. Krivas coming back from injury. So the front court is maybe a little bit more set in stone from that regard. But you could use a little bit more scoring chops with Caleb Love in particular leaving. So I understand that thought process. I guess I would say that, I think that there's a better chance that you could find a scorer that could take over the Caleb Love role, like a Brayden Burries in the transfer portal, versus finding a 4 with the level of athleticism that makes you a top 10 player in the country, like a Koa Peat. And now all of a sudden, think about the athleticism. If you could somehow keep a front court together of Carter Bryant, Koa Peat, Henri Veesaar.
Oh my God.
It's the most athletic front court in the country.
The block party for sure.
Yeah,
oh my God.
And that's an NBA. I mean, it's genuinely an NBA front court that you have. And I think that you could find a volume shooter type that would be intrigued by a team like that and say, hey, there's a designated role for me on this squad. So
you can find an ADO plus.
I do understand that maybe. I'm thinking more of like a Caleb Love type.
Okay.
I mean, you brought in Caleb Love.
No, I got you. I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
You could find a guy like that who's like a 15-point per game scorer. So in the sense that I understand it from a positional standpoint, why you would maybe go with a Brayden Burries, I think I would go with Koa Peat because I think that it's harder to find that profile of player than it is to find the volume scorer profile.
I'm with you, and I don't know if you were done. I was gonna say I'm with you because I think, and by with you, I hear what you're saying in the sense that if you bring in a Brayden Burries over a Koa Peat, and again, this is a hypothetical world, y'all, where you can only pick one, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That was the tweet that I threw out there. It's harder to teach and catch up a Brayden Burries to speed of the defenses he's going to be facing in the Big 12 outside of what you'd have to teach to Koa Peat, right? Koa Peat, I feel like will be easier to step in, plug and play into a Big 12 team than a Brayden Burries would, and that's no knock on Brayden Burries. But yeah, I could. I mean, this is a topic where you obviously want both, and there's arguments to be made on either side for either player. But I like what you had to say about the transfer. I just feel like with the way the front court is currently oriented, there's almost a backlog of talent there, and I feel like there's not that in the backcourt. And additionally, Damon, I think you want to raise up the next generation. You want to bring Brayden Burries in and have him learn from maybe a transfer guard, right? But also, Jaden Bradley's going to be there as well. So
yeah, I think here's I guess where I'm at with it now that I thought it through a little bit more. I think in particular, if Carter Bryant does not come back next year, Koa Peat is, I think, astronomically higher than for me.
1,000% agree with you at that point.
If you think that Carter Bryant, if you feel confident, if Tommy Lloyd, for example, feels confident internally that he's going to come back based off conversations they've had, I feel a lot better about the prospect of not having a Koa Peat in place.
Ooh, how did I forget to mention this? I deserve a V8 smack on the back of the neck or something, Damon, because you know who pulled up and watched our guy Brayden Burries ball out the other night against, I think, the number one player in the country or the number one team in the country or something like that?
LeBron?
Close. Well, close in the sense that it's going to be an NBA Hall of Famer. Draymond Green pulled up. And now I don't know where your mind is going immediately, but you know who played with Draymond Green for a lot of years and probably incited a lot of subconscious pro-Arizona propaganda in that man? Andre Iguodala. Sure. And you know who I want?
Steve Kerr, maybe?
With the recruitment of Brayden Burries on the line. You know who I want? Iguodala. Give me Iguodala. Because, bro, I saw that and I'm thinking, okay, hopefully Draymond put in the good word. I know he's a Michigan State guy, but he has to have some humility and understand my horse is not in this race. But my guy Andre Iguodala's horse is in this race.
What about Steve Kerr?
Maybe I could help Steve Kerr as well. I didn't even think about that.
That's his current coach.
I know. I didn't even think. Man, see, this is why we're a duo right here. You know what I'm saying? This is the Dwayne Wade LeBron oop right now. That's what you're watching live right now. But no, I'm big on Brayden Burries. The Stars are big on Brayden Burries. I'm excited about the potential of both of them donning the Arizona uniform, Damon Dog. But yeah, right now the latest on Koa Peat, to wrap that kind of box into a bow, is that we don't know. because he doesn't know, it seems, where he wants to go right now.
I will say that Aaron Torres put out on his Twitter today that with Bobby Hurley officially returning, he believes that ASU is in good shape to land Koa Peat.
See, okay.
Apparently, Koa Peat has a good relationship with Jaden Quaintance. I think it would be absolutely insane of Jaden Quaintance to come back for a second season in Tempe. I want to know how big the bag is. That's my second amendment.
I mean, that might not be a bag. That might be a Brinks truck at that point, Damon.
Yeah,
We might be talking more than bags.
I do find that interesting out of Koa Peat. You know, I do, and I'm prepared to say it. And it'd be a loser move. It would be a loser move to go to ASU.
Damon?
That's a loser basketball program full of expectations and nothing but disappointment. And I know that they throw those stones at us all the time, which is hilarious considering we actually do have some postseason success and teams that are relevant. But Koa Peat, dude, like every relevant Phoenix Hooper makes the right decision. Mike Bibby, Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, Nick Johnson. You could go on and on and on and on. They all make the right decision. They pick the serious basketball program in the state. I'm looking at you, Koa Peat. Do not make this decision. Go to Arizona. I think it's looking as of right now like ASU is more likely of a destination. Because I feel like, Kevin, based off of how this ASU season has gone, based off of Bobby being so in flux, the fact that he's still heavily considering them tells me that he is very much wanting that to happen and be the place for him. It's similar to T-Mac, where it's like he never truly shut down the Arizona rumors throughout his entire recruitment. And it always gave you that inch of like, ooh, maybe we're about to, creep our foot in the door here. I get the similar vibes here with ASU. And it does feel like to me, like if he wanted to stay home in Arizona, but play for a big time program, that decision was as easy as can be, brother.
He would have signed around the time Bryce James signed. Like he would have been locked up already.
It seems like it. So yeah, I'll be honest. I'm concerned about it. Panic button is on the table for Koa Peat going to ASU, and it would be a loser move. To summarize my thoughts,
we should pull back the curtain here, and I have many thoughts on what you had to say, and I will get to those. But pull back the curtain. Damon does have a panic button on his desk at all times, because I mean we all know we know Damon Dog, and he is one that I think needs a panic button on his desk for moments in sports of all kinds. But also, I think we got to take the batteries out that thing and bring it into here, Damon. And I say take the batteries out of it because y'all, you do not want to hear the stuff. This panic button, it's annoying. Like when I was new here, I came in and pressed it just as like a joke. I was like, "Oh, panic, bang!"
I looked at Kevin. I said, "Don't do that."
It went on for like
we actually don't press the button in the office.
It went on for so long and it was so loud.
It's bad.
But my thoughts on your Koa Peat situation is, first thought is I tweeted when I was in St. Louis, and some people had some things to say about Tommy in their responses, but I think they missed my greater point. Recruits that are considering Arizona and recruits that have non-serious basketball programs in competition with Arizona in their top 5. Now, Koa Peat has a lot of very serious basketball programs in his top 5, and then ASU. It's kind of like the dragon meme where it's two very scary dragons, and then the guy doing this. You know what I mean? That's ASU compared to Arizona and Houston, even tweet. Baylor and Texas.
Can I just say right now that if we did that when he reeled off his like top 4 or whatever, if we tweeted that,
it would have done some good numbies. Good numbies. But
back pocket.
I was saying in that tweet that if you're a recruit that fits that criteria, and you choose, in this case, an ASU over even Houston, right? Arizona or Houston, Baylor or Texas, right? If you choose ASU over any of those other schools, and again, not trying to make decisions about every commit, but that tells me that you're a little bit less serious about winning at the college level than maybe some of your compatriots, maybe some of your acquaintances, right? Damn, acquaintances, not pun intended, actually.
Yeah, you meant that.
I didn't, but now I do. Because, Damon, I just feel like, to your point, if Koa Peat chooses Arizona State over Arizona, Houston, Baylor, and Texas, he's a great talent, an incredible talent, and from all accounts, a great dude. Like, his family's great, a great leader. That's all I have to say is good things about Koa Peat. But I will say that if he goes to ASU over any of the more serious programs, it's a huge, to me, red flag on like his seriousness about college basketball. To me, that's like, okay, I'm one and done. Give me a big bag before I go league. And yeah, I represent, whatever school at the league, but I'm trying to get to the league right now.
Yeah.
And I think that will tell us everything we need to know as fans about Peat. I'm not saying go hate on him if he goes somewhere else. I'm sure, unfortunately, fans will do that.
Especially if it's ASU, unfortunately. Yes.
But what I am saying is that does, when people tell you who they are, you should listen. And I think if he goes to ASU over some very serious schools, you should listen to what Peat's telling you about how he sees his collegiate basketball career. And now also, Damon, secondarily, my thoughts when you were giving your monologue there. God help us if Peat goes to ASU, because forget the basketball. Totally forget the basketball. All these irrational Tommy Lloyd haters.
They're going to have
my God. It's going to be
I
like.
was thinking more the ASU fan perspective.
No, that's you. That's all you all day, brother. You're in the trenches. That's all you. I'm thinking about my president, my commander-in-chief, Tommy Lloyd, right? Reporting for duty, Tommy, every day. But I will say, you about to get cooked on social media, and I don't think he cares. But I'm saying that would be, our chat would be gross. Not these people, you know what I mean? But like, the people that sometimes just come in and say something negative about Tommy Lloyd. Man, they'd be there every show saying, what happened to Peat, man? I thought we were going to get Peat. And that would kill me. Because I know that this, if he goes to ASU, it's about a bag, and it's not about basketball. But people won't care about that. It will be face value. Tommy Lloyd did not get this guy, and therefore Tommy Lloyd is bad at recruiting, and therefore we need to get rid of Tommy Lloyd, which is a whole heap of BS.
It'll be a whole it'll be about, well, I think it raises questions about Tommy's ability to recruit if he's losing out from a 5-star to ASU.
I get it, but also like it goes back to my point of what I was saying about Koa, right? To where it, like, and you said it yourself, this should already be locked up. And I get that is also partially on Tommy. I'm not totally excluding him from that, but I think that it is also a part of Peat's personality, right? We've been talking you and I have been sitting here talking all year about fit,
the coach.
About fit, and how fit and function are way more important than star rating and this and that, right? Because the freshmen aren't even the one doing it in the tournament anyway. It's the transfer guys, right? So I just feel as though
you can't give Tommy Lloyd a complete pass for that. Though,
I didn't say that. I said there obviously he has a role in making sure this is locked up already. But if you can't just force a guy to be here. Like, you just can't.
No, but what you do have to make clear and communicate properly as a recruiter is, hey, man, no one who's ever been serious about their craft has made this decision. Do you want to be the first guy who does that? Or do you want to go where all these 10-plus year NBA veterans have gone and had special careers out of it? Because it really is that simple. And if Tommy can't, I know that that's a little bit more cutthroat than maybe, Tommy's approach would be with a kid.
I'm sure.
But if he can't communicate that properly, that is a little bit on his ability to recruit, I would say. But, it wouldn't be fully on Tommy Lloyd. Yes, Peat would be a little bit of a different cat in that regard. And I remember we talked about Carter Bryant in particular. Like, we respect Carter Bryant because this dude could have went and started anywhere, but he chose to come off the bench to play for Tommy Lloyd because his development was first and foremost his priority in his life. And I think that's respectable. But Peat, you have to make that guy feel that way. That's part of recruiting for me. And Tommy Lloyd, like, this would be somewhat of a stain on him. And losing to ASU, I know that your mind goes to the Tommy haters, but my mind goes to the freaking ASU dorks that would
that'd be awful too. I can't lie
throw a parade
to you.
in Tempe and act like that they just won the national championship.
Because I love my guy, but Rome would be in here. He would make up a letter. We'd pulling back the curtain. We have our schedule boards outside of the studios, and every day our interns give a theme for the day. Right? Today was Brian Windhorst Wednesday, so Wendy's face is behind our schedule. Right? He would make up a day of the week. It would be Peat Poo's Day or something, and he would find a way to wiggle it in there every single day. Peat Poo's Day, Koa Koo's Day, like, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. Would be, I'd be upset. But yeah, you're right. And the ASU fans, and I'm gonna let you continue your point. It would even have me seething in my skin. And I don't even get that way.
All to finish 500 and miss the tournament or make the first 8 and lose then. Like, it would be all for nothing. But their preseason celebration would be unbelievable. Yeah, we just can't have that. And hopefully it doesn't happen. But it does seem like right now that Peat is trending towards ASU. So we will keep you updated on that, as you know. Kevin, we have some clips we want to run through real quick before we get out of here. We got Tommy Lloyd in Kansas City. What did Coach Lloyd have to say regarding Arizona's, potential matchup versus Kansas? Ended up being Kansas, but at the time of this, didn't exactly know who the matchup was going to be. First, though, Tommy did talk about kind of the defensive struggles recently. So, what did Tommy have to say about the defense?
I mean, I think you always probably just try to clean things up, and you're always, watching film and seeing if there's, something here or there that'll give you an advantage. But, it's a pretty tight time frame, and a lot of times this time of year, it usually just comes down to, doing what you do maybe a little bit better.
Damon, I kind of love what he said at the end of that answer about this time of year. It's not about, reinventing the wheel. It's about doing what you do at a higher level and executing at the highest possible level when
Turn it up.
The chips are on the table, right? Turn it up, the Max Holloway. But I will say, like, that is, you and I have been alluding to it all show. That's what in the Kansas matchup, we're not trying to overanalyze this. We just played this team. And I think, as a fan, I thought Arizona could have beat that team. Yeah. And so if Arizona executes at the highest possible level, they will beat that Kansas team. And that kind of goes for a lot of the tournament games that Arizona is going to have to muddle through in the month of March and early April here, Damon, if they get that far. Because, yeah, and I say that because I love the mentality that Lloyd's coming into this with, seemingly. And we spoke to it earlier. There's a playoff mentality as well. But what did you take away from that answer?
Just that I think that, maybe Tommy Lloyd wasn't, he seemed to think, I think he talked about it a little bit last week, Kevin, like bad luck maybe goes into it a little bit more than we think, personally. And I think that goes into what we've talked about all season long, Kevin, of I think Tommy gets his game plan and he sticks to it. And so when things don't work out, it's more so of things didn't go our way rather than, we prepared, improperly necessarily. So I don't really have much to take away from it other than the defense has been bad recently, and it needs to figure out a way to be better. Tommy also talked about being a top 4 seed and kind of letting these first couple rounds play out here in the Big 12 tournament and what that's been like as one of these higher seeds.
Well, I mean, yeah, for the NCAA tournament, you do, and the conference tournament, you do, and we were fortunate enough to earn a top 4 seed, and I don't think that needs to go unnoticed. I mean, if you're looking today, you got Iowa State is playing today, Baylor's playing today, Kansas is playing today. You know who's not playing today? Arizona. So I think that says something about this group. So I think everybody needs to kind of take a step back and put things in perspective. We're in a new conference. It's a great conference, and we're going to learn and grow too. I mean, that's I've always taken pride in being a quick learner and being able to adjust to new things, and I think our team did a good job.
Tommy getting a little bit testy there on his answer regarding, did I think it was in regards to, did Arizona it felt like Arizona was really peaking at the right time and then somewhat let their standing in the Big 12 conference slip as of late. And Tommy was kind of coming in with like, hey, we got a top 4 seed. We got 2 byes through this conference tournament, and that's nothing to scoff at. And I do think that the answer is probably somewhere in the middle, right? Like Arizona has not played well recently in terms of closing out games in particular. I think they have actually generally played decent, which makes it hard to evaluate, but they haven't closed out games properly. And it's led to some losses down the stretch. But yeah, I think in general, getting a top 4 seed in the Big 12 is nothing to scoff at. This is an insane conference. As he mentioned, Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, all really talented teams, all playing on the second round of games, which is crazy to think about, Kevin. So, yeah, I understand Tommy's overall point there. Yeah, we got one more clip from Tommy, but I'll let you speak to that real quick.
Yeah, no, I think you pretty much covered the bases with that. I was talking to you while we were playing that clip about his face was making me laugh. Like when he was like, well, I don't know if you realize, but Iowa State played today. Baylor played today. He just kept like leaning in a little bit, making his eyes bigger each time. But yeah, I think you covered the bases with that. I alluded to it earlier. I've been curious as to what the mentality of Lloyd and the team is coming into a playoff situation such as the Big 12 tournament and the March Madness tournament as well. And this is what Lloyd had to say about general playoff mentality this time of year.
Don't overthink it. Figure out who you're going to play. Prepare for one opponent. Don't get ahead of yourself and have an understanding. The only way to get to the next game is win the first game. So that's where your entire focus needs to be on is winning the first game, and then If you're fortunate enough to win the first game, you figure out who you're playing the second game, prepare to win the second game. Honestly, it's not any more complicated than that. I think, this bracketology and all you guys speculating, that's great for you guys, but I think internally for the guys actually in the battle, you just need to stay kind of singular focused.
Tommy with some, I'm telling you, man, he brought the sass in this.
That's great for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys can keep the lights on with your little silly brackets and, hey, pays for eggs, right? Good for you. Yeah, you know what I mean? Little bracket boy.
Cute.
Little bracket boy.
Nuzzle the hair a little bit. It's cute, guys.
Little pat on the back.
Yeah, but nice one, Chief. But yeah, I this was actually a question that was posed by Saul specifically was like, what did you learn from Mark Few at Gonzaga and kind of how you prepare for these tournament games and these postseason formats? And Tommy, yeah, he just went on basically to say that you take every game for what it is. You take one game at a time. You prepare for that opponent, and you kind of you just kind of keep it simple. It really is. It felt like he was like, you don't overthink it. This isn't a situation where you get into that. And yeah, Erica has some reps with Sassy Tommy, from her experience being at McHale. So she knows that's what Sassy Tommy looks like. And that certainly was Sassy Tommy. Kevin, we got one more clip here before we get out of here from our guy, Caleb Love. And he spoke today to Saul in what looks to be the hotel lobby of where the team is staying, because Saul is just hunting them down, doing the boots on the ground work. Maybe getting threatened to get kicked out by hotel security guards. Who knows? But
we should have asked him.
Here's what Caleb Love had to say. Yeah, we will ask him moving forward.
Experience is definitely going to help me. It's going to help this team. We have a lot of guys that's played in big time games, big time moments. A lot of coaches that's played on in national championships and Final Fours and things like that. So that's obviously going to be a help to us and an advantage for us. So we got to use that to the best of our ability and just be ready to show up every day.
The reason I had shout out to our guy Kyle who helped us out with these clips pre-show. The reason I had Kyle pull this clip exactly was because we just watched AJ Storr tonight after a year in which every KU fan has been like, wow, how disappointing has AJ Storr been, right? And when you needed a guy with experience the most, it wasn't DeJuan Harris, a.k.a. Lil Bow Wow. It wasn't Hunter Dickinson. It was AJ Storr, the guy who's had a ton of experience, right? He did it at the highest level last year, absolutely balled out, transfers now, very underwhelming year out of AJ Storr, right? It's not an exact one-to-one, but the reason I loved that answer from Caleb Love is, to me, it gives me faith that we're going to get the Caleb Love that we expect to get, or at least he's going to do his damnedest to make that Caleb Love appear. Because
he's always going to give his due.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying that he knows that when the chips are on the table in March, because he's had experience playing here, that your team relies on you more than any time of the year to be who you need to be night in, night out. And so I love to hear that Caleb Love's going to lean on his experience, lean on what he already knows, and he's not going to, feel the moment because he's already been there. So, yeah, the AJ Storr thing reminded me about how KJ Love's experience could be vital for Arizona coming down the stretch here.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I just think that, Caleb Love's the type of dude where he's going to take, 23 shots no matter what, even if there five of them go in. So it's like I feel like he's always, a volume shooter like that. He's just going to keep shooting. But yes, when it comes down to these high profile games, I think he's the guy who specifically wants the ball in his hands. It feels like, right? So, you need that guy to hit your shots. It does feel
Jaden Bradley more.
I was going to say, I think Jaden Bradley is that guy as well.
Yeah.
So, I think Arizona has a couple dudes who want the ball in their hands. And hopefully I think, there's a world in which a KJ Lewis, a Carter Bryant kind of can mold into some, one of those dudes as well. So we'll see, Kevin. But yeah, Caleb Love gearing up for a big game against Kansas. Payback time, man. You lose the national championship to Kansas. You lose last game to Kansas. It's now or never, Caleb Love. This is how you get revenge right here. Tomorrow night versus Kansas. Arizona Wildcats take on Kansas Jayhawks. Kevin Thomas, Damon Fairall. We will be there on the AZ Wildcats postgame show. As always, thank you guys. We appreciate you watching. A little hour 25 late night for you because we just love it that much. Drop a like on this video if you haven't done so already. We got 292 people in here. Make sure you guys like this video. It means everything to us. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Follow my guy Kevin at KevoPost. That's KevoPosts. Follow me at Damon Dog, DAWG. Follow the show account at PHNX_Wildcats. And Kevin, do we have anything before we get you out of here?
One last look at the Hall of Names. I just want to look at it one more time because it is very
special.
pretty. Look at that. With the beautiful, inspiring music. This is what the people live for, Damon Dog.
What's your favorite name on this list? Drop it in the comments after the show.
And if it's not Enoch Cheeks, then...
But Federico is generational,
Bro,
man.
Enoch Cheeks? Are you serious? Enoch Cheeks, man. Enough and Enoch.
Federico is literally the same name twice, and it's an awesome name. AZ Catch G with the buzzer beater, $2. My man. Good night, guys. We appreciate you. Good night, AZ Catch G. And we will catch you tomorrow on a late night post-game edition of Arizona versus Kansas on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Until then, peace, bear down.
And go Cats! Bet on Arizona tomorrow, but gamble responsibly.
We all silly like the mayor.